I just had a conversation with a friend of mine that we caught up for coffee just recently. And he was asking me, hey, what's your morning routine? So, people see a certain level of success in you and they want to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
This is not the conversation to say, hey, if you start a morning routine, you're going to be successful.
Right.
It's not that. There are, however, I do believe there are definitely some massive benefits to starting a morning routine. So conversations are all over the place talking about, how people interact with the day. How can I level up? How can I do more in my life? How can I grow? Everybody's after growth and they're looking for whatever the newest concept or newest thought is to reach a new level in their life. We've gone through that many times, and a lot of it is you hear about morning routines. Everybody's talking about morning routines. It's not something new, but everybody wants to hit people up and say, hey, what's your morning routine look like?
There's books about it too.
There's books about it. The very first book I read was Miracle Morning. Maybe not the first one that I read on it, but it's an old book on Miracle Morning.
Kind of about that, yeah.
And it was a cool story. It's motivating and encouraging if you haven't read it, and you're wanting to, dig in more to the morning routine, then, certainly, dive in. It'll be a good start for you. But I'm not necessarily a subscriber. What are your thoughts here?
I don't know about if I'm a subscriber to it, but I feel like it's good to have a set morning routine. Just like you, basically you.
What's it look like for you?
Well, it's different here and there, but for a while when you first started getting into books and reading and learning years ago, it's been a long time now, but we switched our morning routines. Used to be we'd have coffee and talk and whatever, and then you started really getting into reading and.
We used to talk?
We did. Anyway, but so that became part of the routine as we you made the example, but start reading in the mornings. And that was like the quiet time for reading. And you've always done that all these years. I fall off here and there, but and then we'd make that part of our yearly goals is to read so many books this year or whatnot. And I still do that. I did that again for this year, but.
You still make goals on how many to read? So what's the point?
I feel like the point is, well, for me, it's probably different for you, but I feel like I'm doing something good for my brain, learning new things, learning just what I read a lot of the books that you read, but then I read some of my own as well, but they're always self-growth oriented in some way, but I've just learned a lot from reading all these different kinds of books.
Yeah. So is that the point, to learn?
I feel like it is, yeah. It's a huge point.
Yeah.
You always want to grow. I feel like you are so different from the person you were years ago when you first started. You've just, you've just changed and learned so much. Just the way you talk, the way you think, the way you communicate, the way, probably in business and stuff as well, but you've changed 100%, I feel like, just from learning so many different things and stuff you've read. Is this
words of affirmation?
It is.
Thank you. That was really nice. I appreciate that.
Wow.
I didn't know you knew how to do that. I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, that was nice.
It's true.
Yeah. So, look, I tell everybody, the greatest growth I've ever seen in my life comes from books, for sure. Yeah. Now, I just had a conversation with a friend of mine that we caught up for coffee just recently. And he was asking me, hey, what's your morning routine? So, people see a certain level of success in you and they want to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
This is not the conversation to say, hey, if you start a morning routine, you're going to be successful.
Right.
It's not that. There are, however, I do believe there are definitely some massive benefits to starting a morning routine, but it's not probably the way you think. So here's how it was for me. Number one, like you said, books did grow me.
Yeah.
They have grown me. I believe to my core that we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, and those are through books. I also believe that, sometimes it's difficult to find a mentor or a coach, and they are crucial to your growth. So anybody, if you want to grow, look, I don't have a program to sell. This is free, so do with it what you will. But I can tell you, if you don't have somebody who's speaking into your life and it's you and you alone, you will never grow beyond you. You just won't. And that's the problem. So for me, I didn't have money.
Right.
So for a $12, $15 book, I just bought me a mentor.
Right, exactly.
Or a coach. Yeah. That's the cheapest coaching or mentor you will ever find.
Yeah.
Now, at some point, you'll grow beyond that and you'll need more, which then, a coach or somebody that you can have live conversations with, they can be invaluable to growth. It doesn't mean you need it forever, but there are seasons where you definitely need it to get over a hump and reach this new level of success. You have to have somebody who's gone before you, who has different insight and successes, and those are the people you want to find to coach you, mentor you, whatever it is, depending on the capacity of what you're trying to do. So that's no shameless plug. I do those, but I'm just saying, you need to find that person because they are invaluable to you. But until you get to that point, if you're just starting out, get some books, begin to read. So this is where, if you're a growth mindset person, the challenge is, where do you fit that into your schedule?
Right. And that's what we did. Like, it was get up a little bit earlier, which back when we first started the whole reading thing, I used to get up earlier than I get up now. But that's what, and you've always gotten up early, but that's what I think the easiest way for us to fit it in was do it in the morning. Some people don't. Maybe nighttime is better for them.
For me, it's
Before
strategic. Here's the way I process it. And, one thing you have to remember is my morning routine won't be the one for everybody.
Right.
It will be for me, and it'll be for people who are my personality type. But, you may have to shift how you do it. But my morning routine is strategic in that I know, statistically speaking, we are the sharpest first thing in the morning. Now, when I get up, because I get businesses to operate and always a mountain of a list ahead of me that, seems to never be done, I'm working immediately. Oftentimes, I'm not even out of bed, and I'm already working. My mind is spinning on the things. So this helps me kind of put my morning together in its quiet time because when you get up, it's no longer quiet time.
Yeah. Because I'm ready to talk.
You're ready to talk. You want to clunk stuff around or whatever else. When it's dark and silent, I have no distractions, and my mind can really pull in whatever I'm trying to feed it.
Yeah.
That's super important. Secondly, is gratitude time. I spend, a few minutes in gratitude and just being grateful for the things that are around me. I think that puts you in the right mindset to take the day on and to start it off right instead of start it off, in a poor me or feeling sorry for yourself or in anxiety, or whatever mode that you may be. It's super important to have a few minutes of gratitude. And, God, I'm thankful that you blessed me with our home. There's warmth, there's AC, whatever else, food in the refrigerator. It doesn't have to be some, thank you, God, for making me wealthy. Or, I care less about that. It's about the basic needs that you have and you get to enjoy and just the people around you in your life. So those are super important. So the strategy is pour into your mind earliest when your mind can take the most. It's more challenging when you do it in the evening because you've got a whole day worth of work in, whatever you do for a living. Your mind's fatigued and it starts getting foggy and bouncing all over the place. I have a hard enough time staying on point just when I'm reading first thing in the morning. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because you're always thinking of 50 things at once.
Yeah, my brain is hard to harness. So anyway, that's the point. Mine's strategic, but the whole purpose really is to find a spot where you can grow yourself. Because if you really want to improve yourself, and it's all about self-improvement, but the funny thing is, the more you improve yourself, oftentimes the people who are looking for, greater wealth or more money and those types of things, somehow that knowledge seems to monetize itself because you've become wiser, you see things differently, you're looking through a lens that's just a little bit cleaner as you learn more each time. You're kind of slowly wiping the lenses off and you see things in more detail and more brightness and it's an amazing blessing. So the same conversation, he was asking me basically if about what exactly I did, and he was going to try to do that. And I said, look, it's less important about what you do and that you honor what you decide you're going to do.
Right.
So when you make the decision, whether it's I'm going to read or so he was talking about, what time he gets up and stuff. He was struggling with getting out of bed. So like the alarm goes off at like 5:30 or some time, I don't remember what exact time he said, but it was something early. And he said, I struggle, I lay there, I shut the alarm off and then I sleep past that. And then I got like a backup alarm and I just kind of shove it off. And I told him, I said, look, one of the most dangerous things you can do is not honor a decision you've made to yourself.
Yeah.
Because he's like, how do you get up? I'm like, I hate getting up.
Just get up.
I hate it. I hate getting up in the dark. There's nothing more wonderful than waking up when the sun's just breaking through the windows and in the bright light, it's a bright, sunny, warm day and it's going poof, just coming through your window and your eyes start just, kind of a little foggy and opening up and everything's bright. It's just, the day has started. That feels good to me. That's energizing to me. Yeah. It is not when I'm going like this and I can't see anything, it's dark and, and I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? But I do it to honor what I decided to do, to honor my decision. Yeah. So that's the most important. You're teaching yourself to be credible to your own desires. Self-discipline.
Good. Yeah.
So how to start? I don't know. What do you suggest?
Just doing it. First of all, I was going to ask you, for the people who aren't growth mindset oriented, but they want to have a different morning routine, do they start, what I'm saying, if they want to start doing something new and maybe learn how to change their mindset, but they're not there, do you understand what I'm saying? People that say, I want to change my morning routine, but as far as reading books, because if you're just reading romance novels and stuff like that, you're not going to grow your mind and change probably for the better, if you're reading those kind of books. But I'm saying to people who aren't used to reading those kind of books, where do they start? If they're wanting to change and start something new.
So,
to look into those kind of books.
I think reading in general is super healthy and good for you. It helps you learn how to speak. It helps you learn new words. It expands your vocabulary. And, one of the greatest things to increasing wealth in your value is your ability to communicate. It really is. Some of the people who are most successful, what do you know about them? They can communicate. Or they're professional communicators, So it's super important to do that. So reading anything, if you enjoy that, that's no different than watching TV. Yeah. So like a romance novel or something like that, I know people who love those kind of books. Oh, yeah. That to them is entertainment. Right. It's not growth oriented, but they're not looking at it for growth. Right. So look, if you're not of a growth mindset, maybe you should click off this video because that's not, we're talking about people who want to grow and they say, look, I feel like I'm stuck. I feel like I'm in an average life. Well, then you can't do what everybody else does. You have to do something different and you have to become more valuable. How do you become more valuable? How do you learn more? How do you grow more? So this video is for the people out there. If you're hungry and you have strong desires to grow and feed your mind, then this is what we're talking about. Yeah. But if you're not, this is not the video for you. Right. Go find a different one. We got different ones on marriage, on divorce, on all kinds of crazy topics. Yeah. But this one's on money and growth and understanding the power of a morning routine. So for first steps, would you suggest, how do you figure out what kind of book to get? Look, first of all, if you have somebody who has had some success, ask them for a recommendation. Most successful people read books. Yeah, that's true. Now, it doesn't mean they have to have a paper book. Sometimes they listen to them, Audible or whatever else, but they consume books. So ask somebody, get some tips. I have people who ask me all the time, in our family, outside of our family, hey, what's a good book you recommend? Yeah. And, based on what I know about them, is what book will come to mind. I just recommended one. There's a great book by Dan Martell. He did a great job. If you know him much at all, he's a very successful SaaS company that he built. Basically, it's software as a service. So it's what that means, where they pay service for software. Anyway, so he built a great company, and he's all over social media. He sold the company, and now he went all in on social media, and he's an amazing guy. He really is. He's a great businessman, number one, but he's a great practical guy who's sharing everything that he knows. So super cool. There are people like that all over the web with the advent of YouTube and the popularity of all the social media channels that are pouring in. So you'll find somebody, but if you grab one book, there's all kinds. If you want money related, the go-to is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah. If your business, my number one business is Eat Like Goldratt, the Power of Constraint. It's a thick book. So when you see it, it's intimidating, but it's had a movement in my life. David Schwartz, The Power of Big Thinking. That one is a foundational book in my life that I used and have been able to do a lot of things. So you can get recommendations from a lot of people. Find somebody who's successful that you look up to. Ask them, what kind of book would you recommend? And let them share with you something that they already know that may help you get to the next level. Yeah. So what would you recommend next for changing your routine? Making a commitment? Yeah, so I think really you have to decide what your purpose is. Yeah. You know, do you want a morning routine because you think a morning routine is going to make you successful? No, it won't. A morning routine, really all it is, to me, is a space in my day, every day, that I've carved out for me. For me to grow, for me to nourish my mind, for me to get myself focused and in the right mindset that I want to be. I want to start with an attitude of gratitude.
Yep.
And I don't want to just be drilling through my day, waking up with, you know, the pressures and stresses and everything else. And this helps me reset. It plants, you know, some thoughts. If you just do 10 pages a day,
Right.
if it's a good book, then I can end up 30, 40
Yeah.
pages in, sometimes more. You've seen me like on a
Yeah.
Saturday where it's like 2 hours in and I'm like, I'm consuming this,
Yeah.
you know? But just 10 pages a day is super beneficial and will help stretch you into new things. And you'll retain far more of it.
Yeah.
So you start there, but don't leave out gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the most important thing. Figure out a time that you can get up, that you can wake up. If you can roll out of bed when it's dark, yeah, that's where it's at,
for
man.
you, yeah.
There's rewards there because you know it's hard, number one. The more you do it, the more it builds your confidence because, you know, you made a decision. And when you stand by any decision that you make, there's power and it
Right.
builds confidence and it's self-motivating.
Yeah.
And the truth is, nobody else gives a rip about your morning routine or you for that matter.
Yeah.
Everybody's on their own. So you got to find what works for you. And if you can put together the right morning routine and find a way to help grow you, there are benefits that come everywhere from that. So if you don't have a morning routine, hey, there's never too late to start. Get into something, just start little and start with a certain time that you want to get up and read 10 pages of something a day.
Yeah.
If you have nothing, you know, in your house that's a book, you probably have a Bible stash somewhere.
There you go.
And the truth is, that's a pretty good
really
book.
good one.
Not a bad one to start with. Hop in there and, you know, start reading. And then, you know, you can migrate into some other things. But it's a great place to start and get yourself focused so you can be growing your mind, expanding your thoughts, and moving into bigger, better things on a regular basis, just from that little daily habit.